Well, hello, and welcome to another video with Pastor Adam Estep talking to you about our book discussion groups on What on Earth Am I Here For, coming up here in just a few short weeks at Linglestown Life. As you notice, the setup may be a little bit different from our last video. Wife and I got some new dining room furniture. I taped these at the house, and so, things are a little bit different. Hope everything is going to come together all right over the next few minutes we have together, but you didn't tune in to hear about my domestic life, so let's get right into some of the things that we're really excited about coming up in a few short weeks with What on Earth Am I Here For. Now, over the past couple weeks, as I've been talking to some different folks, I've been hearing some things that, some concerns and some questions that have come up repeatedly, and so I figured I would do another video here to address some of those things for everyone to take a look at, as well as to highlight some things to be mindful of as we get ready to launch this thing. I hope you're excited. I know I am excited, and I know Pastor George is excited, and the staff is just pumped to get this thing going. Now, one of the big things that we have talked about, one of the things that have been asked about me repeatedly as far as when do I get my group started, what's the calendar supposed to look like? Now, the last time I had some of these subtitles that came up, well, I went a little old-fashioned this time because there's a lot more information and that I don't think my computer could necessarily handle. So, hope you don't mind me going the old-fashioned route and using a little paper. And so what we have here, we're going to highlight the calendar and the plan that we have that we think that will be best for our book discussion groups coming up over the next few weeks to get you started here. Now, the big date that we have here is coming up here the last Saturday in September. This is September. The last Saturday, the 28th, is our big kickoff event. Now, if you haven't already, you definitely want to come in and let us know that you're going to be attending that event. We really, if you're putting together a book discussion group, we really need you to be there. So make sure you're there for that. The details for that are on our website. It's in the evening. You have an option of coming before dinner and getting information and then staying for dinner, or coming for dinner and then staying afterwards and getting the information. And so that's something that you really want to be mindful of, is that date, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes here. Now, after that date, that Sunday, the 29th, Pastor George will preach a general introductory message about the whole series. It's going to be very general information that we have for you that he's going to get us started with. And then during that week, your group should meet for the first time, okay? And what should happen at that first meeting is something we're going to cover in a few minutes. But that's when your group should meet for the first time to get basic introductions done and some other things we'll talk about, like I said, in a few minutes, okay? So that week in September, that also pops up again here in the October calendar. That's that top line here that we have. So the introductions, that's what we talked about. It goes through that first week, last week in September, first week in October there, kind of blends together. And then on Sunday, October 6th, Pastor George will preach about the first unit of What on Earth Am I Here For, which is called What on Earth Am I Here For? Catchy name. Wonder where they came up with that. And so that's why, and that's really when you're going to start reading. Okay. So let me pick out an example. Say your group meets on Sundays. We have a lot of groups that meet on Sundays. Sunday school. We have a small group in the morning. We have a couple of groups in the evening. So you're going to start on the 29th, which is this day up here. It doesn't say 29 because this is the October calendar, but this is September 29th. So you're going to meet, and that's going to be an introductory group. If you're a new group, maybe use an opportunity if you have been meeting, but maybe took a week, some time off in the summer to get together again, to catch up with what's going on in each other's lives. And then you will start reading. If your group meets on this Sunday, the 29th, you will start reading that Monday, September 30th, okay? Now, each unit has 7 daily readings, and so you would read day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, and then before your group meets on Sunday again, you want to read day 7. So if you meet on Sunday morning, perhaps you want to start reading on Sunday, and so you finish Saturday night. But if you don't meet until the evening, like most groups, then you can wait and start the next day and finish that reading that you have before you meet later on that day. And at that meeting, then if we're going on a Sunday schedule, and as an example here, on Sunday, October 6th, when you get together that night or earlier in the day, you will talk about the first unit called What on Earth Am I Here For? And then the next day, Monday, October 7th, you would start reading Day 8, which is part of the second unit, which discusses the very first purpose that Rick Warren writes about, okay? And then he goes through 1, 2, and you see 3 different purposes we'll cover in October with the same sort of schedule. You meet, and then you read start the next unit the next day. And then that goes all the way into November, the first 2 weeks in November. The last week that we have this will be November the 10th, and that'll be the final purpose you talk about, okay? And so George will preach on November 10th. If you're meeting on Sundays, your last meet will be on Sunday morning or Sunday evening, etc. through the whole week, okay? So that's how that works for each purpose. And then at the end here, you see highlighted here the last 2 weeks in November, I have written here, service opportunity / Advent and future plans. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get into a ton of details about that, but the final purpose talks about serving others. And so our suggestion to kind of keep your folks connected outside once we wrap up formally this series, What on Earth Am I Here For, is to, as you talk about the last week, or maybe as you go along, talk about what maybe a service opportunity your group could do together to really impact our community, to really get out beyond the 4 walls of a room and really do something together, because that's not only going to help our community, it's going to help you guys as a group also learn more and more about each other when you really get together in that sort of setting. And also you're going to want to talk about what you're going to do in the long term. Now, what are the opportunities for that? Well, that's going to be a separate video that'll come out during this series here in a few weeks. And so that's our calendar. That's our plan of attack. Now, what the office is going to do, and thank you Ashley for doing this for us, our office administrator, she's going to put together and make some bookmarks. Now, if you were with Linglestown Life when we did Purpose-Driven Life and some other series, we did the same sort of thing here where we created our own bookmarks. And then you can write in your start date for your small group, because each small group is going to be a little different. And then that'll give you the schedule for your readings to help make that clear. Because I'm sure right now, even with this handy-dandy visual aid, it might be as clear as mud right now. But that bookmark will help get you straightened out and help things be crystal clear and what the plan of attack is and the reading plan for each person and each group as we go along. Now, a couple of things we want to highlight. Now, if you have any questions before we move on, if you have any questions about the calendar, make sure you get in touch with me, email me, call the church office. They know how to get a hold of me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Now, moving on, one of the first things I highlighted on the calendar was that kickoff event on September 28th. September 28th, right here, is a kickoff event. And that's going to be pretty big. That's a big event for us. It's a big event for this series. It's how you're going to get more information as to exactly what folks are going to be studying, what folks are going to be reading about. And what I would invite you to do as group persons is to contact everyone in your group. Now, as folks have signed up for groups, I've let you know who those names are. So you should still have a running total of who's in your group. You want to contact everyone in your group, find out, and perhaps encourage to attend the kickoff event together, and even sit together if you can. Now, I know people will be coming with spouses and families, and so maybe there's going to be a lot of different people. Maybe you can't fit everybody at one table, but try to do your best to make that happen so that you can really begin that group merging process, that group building process together right from the very beginning. And so I'd invite you to do that as soon as you can so that people know, okay, when are they going to attend and what time. You know, we're going to come early and stay for dinner. We're going to come at the dinner and stay later. And figure all that and try to find a way to sit together, because I think that'll be really beneficial to everyone in your group. Now, after that, your first meeting is probably something you're beginning to think about, and like, what are we going to do with this first meeting when we're just introducing? There's no material. We're not going to watch the DVD. You know, what's going to happen here? Well, really, you want to try to make this fun. There are two big things you want to accomplish here. You want to get introductions out of the way. You want to find out who people are. So invite people to not only share the names, but what their occupations are, what are their hobbies, are there some golfers in the group, are there some crafty people in the group, what are some different things that some folks might share in common. And then maybe you also might want to do, as cheesy as it might sound to you, is an icebreaker or two. Now, there's some great ones out there, and there's some not so good ones out there. And so if you need some help nailing some of those down, feel free to get in touch with me. But Google's a great resource. If you just Google icebreakers, there's a lot of them out there. There's smallgroup.com, has a lot of icebreakers there. We also have some in our small group resource room, which is down on the lower level beneath the sanctuary in room 6. That's room 6. And there's some in there as well if you'd like to look at those. But you really just want to let people get to know each other. So maybe you might elevate the refreshments for that night. Maybe have something a little bit more than just, coffee and tea or something. Maybe invite folks to bring something and have something a little bit more substantive than maybe what you would do on a regular night. But that should be all in there and something to consider as well. Two last things I want to cover before I let you go here. First are the materials. Make sure if you haven't already gotten a book, you get a book. If you're going to download one off on a Kindle app or iBooks, go ahead and do that. Make sure you get that. If you haven't gotten a DVD, please let me know that, because we may need to order more DVDs or make more copies or things of that nature. So please let me know if you need a DVD so we can get more copies from the What on Earth Am I Here For folks in Saddleback Church and get those shipped out to us in time for everybody's small group. And so make sure you do that. And one last thing. Now, I talked about this in one of the other videos about attendance. One of the things that we've been doing as people signing up is I've been keeping track of each small group's roster for the purpose of attendance, okay? And so I need to know if you're already forming a group and you maybe have some people that came up to you directly and you've invited them into your group, I need you to let me know that so I can make sure that we have them on the roster. And then what we're going to do is at the What on Earth Am I Here For information table in Janie's place at the church, we will have a location for you to pick up attendance sheets, and we'll do this for each month. Now, the first sheet will have 5 weeks on it because we'll do the last week of September all the way through October, and then at the end of October, whenever you're done meeting, drop off your filled out one, and what it'll be a list of names, and then a list of names down the side, and then columns for each state, and you just check off who's present at that date, and then all it'll be is a check mark, and then you drop that off at the end of October, pick up another one and pick up the one for November. And if your group meets beyond just What on Earth Am I Here For, we'll continue to do that week in and week out. I know in talking with some other small group folks, we were hoping maybe we could do this online. At this point, we don't have the capability to do it online. I know that might be a little rough, a little disappointing to some of you. It's just not something we're capable of doing at this point and get it integrated into our database. We hope that'll change soon, but right now that's not the case. And so, all it is picking up a sheet, doing some check marks, and dropping it off, and it's going to be a huge help for us so that we know who's in small groups, how many people we have in small groups, how many people we need to gear towards small groups, and to know the makeup of small groups so that we know, okay, we have a single mom, that will be great for this small group, but we want to know that we're not going to suggest putting that particular person, the single mom, into a men's group, because that's they're different groups. So we want to make sure that we get people fit in the right place that God has for them here at Linglestown Life. So that's all I have for you right now. Won't be any fancy subtitles on this video. Hope that's okay. Hope you've been enjoying these. If you have other questions or concerns, again, just let me know. You can get in touch with me at the church. You can go to our church website. My email address is up there in the staff section. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. But that's all I got, and that's another video for you folks helping us out with book discussion groups for What on Earth Am I Here For at Linglestown Life.